Hello, hello, hello. Okay, I was recording for like 5 minutes and then it like shut off. And when I went to go like look why, I deleted it. So I've already spoken for 5 minutes. So it's probably going to shut off early. What is that noise? That was weird. Did you guys hear that? So it'll probably shut off in the next 5 minutes or something like that. But anyway, tomorrow I'm supposed to go and look at this camera, but we're gonna get the light madness out from the very beginning. Anyway, I have had a really long day today, but a fantastic day. I had to get up this morning at 9 o'clock to go meet a friend of mine for coffee at 10, a sober friend, but I ended up not getting up till 9:45. So I was running late, threw on a hat, walked out the door. And then after that, I like ran errands all day, and then I came back and I walked like in the house, and as soon as I literally was not even like 1 foot in the house, and I was like, oh my God, I could smell it from the doorway that one of the dogs had diarrhea. Well, it ended up being that all 3 dogs had diarrhea. Pee-Pee had diarrhea on the staircase, which he almost never has accidents in the house. I mean, none of our dogs really do. Boo and Tucker sometimes have accidents in the house, but never in their crate do they ever have accidents. And I went down there. Pee-Pee was, first of all, very like ashamed and embarrassed. You could just kind of tell, like he was like hunched down when I went up. I was like, Pee-Pee, are you okay? And he kind of just put his head down like he thought he was going to be in trouble, and which he of course wasn't. And then I went to get the dogs, Boo and Tucker, out of their crate, and we had these 2 white sheets in there, and they literally, it was like just flooded with diarrhea, and I was like gagging, cleaning it up, and I feel like I've talked all day. I feel like I'm losing my voice. I then, after cleaning out the crate, after cleaning up the carpet, after taking them out, I called Tanya and I was like, I don't know what to do. All 3 of them have diarrhea. And so she was like, you know, withhold food for a few hours from them. Don't feed them when you usually do. Feed them something bland like chicken and rice. So that's what we did. They seemed to be okay tonight. They seemed fine then. They didn't seem sick. I don't know what it was about. You know, Pee-Pee had been at the kennel all week long, but Boo and Tucker weren't. And we feed them all the same food. Their food was brand new, so I don't think it was the food. I don't know what it was. I have no idea. We've had some storms the last 2 days, or rain, so maybe it was that, but I don't think it was. I've noticed that Boo and Tucker have been eating grass outside, so I know that dogs do that when their stomachs are upset. So we'll see. We didn't feed them a whole lot. We just fed them a little bit of bland, you know, rice and chicken, and hopefully that settles their stomachs a little bit. But that was real fun today to clean all that up. And then after that, I made videos, and by that time, like, I had returned some phone calls and all that kind of stuff, and it was late. Then I had to go to the meeting. I had to pick up Tanya tonight to go to our meeting. And so I laid down. I was so tired because I only got a couple hours of sleep last night because I couldn't fall asleep really quick. And so I laid down for an hour, and right as I was like getting ready to fall asleep, Alex came home. And he was so sweet. He came upstairs. He's like, you are so exhausted. I was like, I am. I said, I feel like the last 2 days, like this, you know, I just have not been used to like going. And so he was like, well, I'm gonna watch some TV, and he had like had some frozen burritos, so he was like, I'm gonna make my burritos and you lay down. And I was like, okay. And I said, I gotta only get to sleep for an hour, and then I gotta go to my meeting. So I lay down for an hour. I got up, took a shower, got ready to go to the meeting, and then I went and picked up Tanya, and we had a fantastic time at the meeting. And then afterwards, I went and we got a fountain pop and Dr. Pepper tonight, and then I took her home. We talked for a little bit on the way home. Then I took her home, and then I came home, and Alex, right as I was walking the door, he had just gotten on the phone with his best friend talking to her because she's getting ready to move back here soon. And she lives in LA, and she's going to see the yellow light just came on. It's at 5 minutes. Did I not totally predict that? So whenever it shuts off, I'm just going to let it go till it shuts off. But, so I said, are you going to be talking to her for a while? He's like, yeah, I'm going to talk to her for probably about a half an hour or so. I said, okay, well, I'm going to go live stream now, because I hadn't live streamed in like 2 weeks. I wanted to live stream the Dominican Republic, but I just never did, because we were always so busy in the evenings. So I did a live stream. It was fun. A lot of people came in there, talked about all kinds of stuff. It was real fun. And yeah, and then I came inside, and Alex was watching. He watches this show called The Bold Type. I don't know anything about this show, but it actually looked really good. I think it's about like a newspaper called Scarlet, and he said it was supposed to be like Cosmopolitan. So I watched that with him, and he had got me these vegetarian, I think they're like that Annie's brand, burritos. Because he was getting burritos, and I was like, will you pick me up 2 burritos? So he got me these vegetarian, like, I think they may even be vegan, I don't know, cheese and bean and rice burritos. They were okay. I don't know, that processed food to me tastes so much just like freezer burn all the time, don't you think? Like, do you ever just get sick of that stuff? It's like, I did lean cuisines forever, and I just never thought they ever tasted like anything but freezer burn. Like, I always thought they just tasted like freezer burn to me. They just never tasted like real meals, you know? I remember when my dad and my mom first got broken up, and that's when like the Stofers came out and the lean cuisines. And my dad and I, like when I was with him on Wednesday nights, if we didn't go out to dinner, which we usually did, because you know Wednesday nights is divorced dad's night, then we would go to his apartment, and he would make glazed chicken by Lean Cuisine, which was like their biggest seller for years. I don't know if it still is or not. And it was like literally a piece of glazed chicken with like wild rice and green beans in it. And then he would make Stouffer's spinach souffle, which I loved back then. I haven't had that forever. It was so good. And a glass of milk. And that's what I would eat with my dad on Wednesdays. We would always we'd go to the grocery store, and he'd be like, what do you want? I'd be like, glazed chicken, Dad. And we would eat them, and he'd put them on little plates and stuff. Anyway. I wanted to use my lip scrub before I left, my Sephora lip scrub, but I didn't. I don't know why I wanted to use it, I just did. Do you ever do that, like with your husband or your wife or your partner? Like, do you ever sit there and watch shows that like you don't watch and you have no idea what's going on, and then you completely get into it? Like, I've never watched this show before, but I was totally into it tonight. And Alex was like, do you like this show? Like, Tanya does this to me. When I'm at her house, she'll throw in like a reality show that's like 8 episodes in, and I've never seen it before, and then I get hooked, and then I'm like, oh, I want to watch it, you know? But I've done that, and I've started so many shows because of hers that then get canceled. We watched this one show, Tanya and I really got into it, and I think it got canceled, and it was about like these preachers and their families. It was really interesting. I think it was like Atlanta or something that took place, but it was like called the Preacher's Family or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, she watches every reality show in the entire world. So today was a long day, but it was a really good day. Like, do you ever feel like that when you feel like really super accomplished? Like, even though it's a really long day, you're like, yes, today was a long day, but I feel very accomplished. Like, I got a lot done today. I need to do laundry. I need to clean the bathroom. And then I need to start cleaning stuff out in the kitchen and the basement. And starting next week, I am setting up a writing schedule. Because up till now, I've kind of just been like going into my office or writing a little bit from home when it's convenient for me. But starting next week, I'm putting together a writing schedule as if I'm like, is this person really passing me on a 2-lane road? Oh my God, it's not. This is like 30 miles an hour in here. They must have places to go. But I really want to have, like, I want to start thinking like a professional writer, because I think that, you know, if you want to be something in life, you have to think of yourself that way first. And a lot of times, like, it's, you know, it's hard for me to be like, oh, I'm a professional writer, because it's not like I have a bestseller, you know what I mean, on New York Times bestseller list. But I think if I start thinking that way, like, those things that I put out in the universe a lot of times do come true. Not because I put them out in the universe, but because I believe in them so much that I start acting like that, if that makes sense. You know, and so, like, the more you say, I want to remain teachable, the more you say, I want to be a better person, you know, tomorrow, or a better person tomorrow than I was today, the more you kind of say those affirmations, the more you really do believe it in your own head. And so if I start really acting as a professional writer and living my life like all of these writers that I've interviewed for our website for years, like, you know, Jackie Collins, or, you know, we interviewed Lauren Conrad, and we interviewed, what's her name, that does the Sookie Stackhouse books. Why can't I think of her name? But anyway, she's written tons. And, you know, all of the, what's her name? Oh my God, I love her so much. The ones that writes the books that look like they're prose, but they're fat, they're like really like fat. Oh, they're teenage, like young adult books about drugs and alcoholics and stuff like that. Why can't I think of her name? Ellen Hopkins. Oh my God. But all of them say, you know, that like they write on a schedule. Like they get up and then they go in and they write from like 10 to 2 and they clock in, you know, basically. Or, you know, they'll write from like 8 to 12, take a lunch break till 2, and then come back and write from 2 to 4. Like if I did that, I don't know, I feel like I would be a little bit more professional. Plus, I'm trying to get 2 books done by October. And like one I'm really far in, the other one I've got to work really hard in, and both I have to edit. So that's a lot of work I have to do between now and October. Thankfully, I'm blessed to be able to do those things that I love. So yeah, so there's that. And that's going to be starting next week. But I have a lot of things around the house that I want to get done too. The patio furniture comes on Thursday. I am so excited. I cannot wait. I paid extra for them to assemble it, so they're going to come and bring it and assemble it and everything, and then it'll just be set up, and I cannot wait for that to happen. I'm so excited. And that is on Thursday. And then Friday is my birthday. And I think that what I've decided I want to do for my birthday is go out to dinner with Alex, Tanya, her husband Eric, and my sponsor. So I think we're going to do that on Friday night, and I've picked like 2 or 3 places. I haven't heard back from my sponsor yet to see if she can do that, but if she can't, then Tanya and Eric and Alex and I will go out to do like a little double day, and that'll be fun. And everybody's like, yeah, you just pick, it's your birthday, so whatever you want to do. I don't even really care. Like, that's the thing. It's like, whenever my birthday comes up, I don't really ever, like I've said before, you know, the social anxiety piece of me doesn't like attention. And I would love to just be able to go to 2 movies that day with my husband like I usually do. He unfortunately has to work that day because we just got back from vacation. And I totally understand that, right? And he felt real bad about it. And I was like, Alex, don't even worry about it. I totally get it, right? But the thing is, if my birthday comes and goes and I don't plan anything to do, I will be upset. I'll be like, oh my God, my birthday came and I didn't even do anything. I didn't make it special or whatever. You know what I mean? So, and the older you get, if you want to do stuff for your birthday, you kind of have to plan it. I mean, Alex would plan the whole thing for me. He tried to. He was texting everybody about birthday dinner plans, and then it kind of got confusing, and everybody had, like Melissa and Jason, they have something they have to go to that night. Our friends Aaron and Eric are going to be out of town. And so, I don't know what I'll do on Friday. I was thinking, you know, about like just doing something simple during the day. I don't want to not do anything to commemorate my birthday. Like, I really do believe in celebrating, like, celebrations. And, you know, my dad is kind of real negative. Like, he actually texted me today. He was like, let's go have brunch this weekend for your birthday. So we'll maybe do that on Sunday. The thing is that we have a wedding in Cincinnati that we have to go to on Saturday for a coworker of Alex's that moved down there. So we have to leave Indianapolis at like 2 on Saturday. And then we're going to drive down there. Oh, it just shut off. Okay, so we're leaving on Saturday to go to Cincinnati at like 2 o'clock, 2:30. And then the wedding starts at 5:30. I have no idea how late it'll go, but we have to drive back. It's about a 2-hour drive back. So, you know, I don't know that I'm going to feel like getting up. And I also have a live stream to do that day for my book club over the book Endless Night that we're currently reading. So I don't know that I'm going to be able to have lunch with my dad this weekend. I wish I could, but I need to talk to Alex about it. I meant to talk to him about it tonight. I just totally slipped my mind. So, but you know, it's interesting. Like as you get older, well, Alex is 34, and his birthday is still very important to him. You know, I don't know. I don't feel the way that I used to feel about it. Like it always felt like this very, very special day. And you know, it's interesting because I was in treatment over Christmas and New Year's, and I don't know what that experience did to me. I mean, I've been in treatment I've been in treatment several times, so I've been in treatment over a lot of different holidays. I've never been in over my birthday, but you know, one of the things that's interesting is that because I was in treatment over Christmas, it made me really look at Christmas and New Year's differently. It made me look at them as just kind of any other day, right? So the meaning that you put to it, spiritual or otherwise, or family getting together, is really yours that you put. Like it's the meaning that you put on those holidays. And it would make you think that, like if I had gone through that, maybe like I just don't even give a shit about those things. But I do very much. Like Christmas and New Year's, you know, guys, if you watch my vlogs, you know, like I was Christmas, you know, like crazy this year. But those holidays mean a lot to me now because I feel so grateful for the family of being able to, you know, spend time with them and just having time off with Alex. And I don't know, it's just, you know, so holidays do mean things to me and celebrations. I just don't like anything that is the focus on me. I really don't. Like, I don't love, you know, being the focus of a birthday or anything like that. It just, excuse me, I don't love it. Like, it makes me almost kind of nervous a little bit, you know? Like when people like wish me happy birthday, and I've gotten some birthday cards, you know, at the post office and in the mail already at home. That is very nice. Like I really appreciate that stuff. But like if somebody was going to surprise me with a surprise party, I would not like that. It would make me nervous. And Alex knows that. Like he knows not to do that. And the first, I can't remember, first or second birthday we were together, he kind of tried something like that, and I think I talked about that not too long ago on here. But, you know, I think that's part of, like, being together with somebody for a long time is that you respect that. Usually, Alex throws, like, a big party for himself. And if I said to him one year, I was like, why don't you let me plan it? He goes, no, I want to plan it because I want it exactly the way that I want it. I want to pick the restaurant. You know, it's always a dinner with, like, let's say 10 or 15 of his closest friends, or 25. And then it is a big party with, like, 40 people. Like, his birthday is always a very, very big deal to him. But I just don't care. And I guess I could, you know, I'm sitting here saying, well, maybe as you get older, it doesn't mean as much to you. But, like, I don't know that my birthday ever meant that much to me. Like, even when I was younger, it meant, like, you know, my parents would say, well, what do you want to do for your birthday? Do you want to have a little party? Do you want to go to Kings Island, which is an amusement park in Cincinnati? Because I used to go there for a lot of birthdays. But, you know, other than that, like, I don't know. I've just never liked the spot. Like, this is so funny being that I make YouTube videos, but I've never liked the spotlight. And honest to God, like, I really, like, don't think of myself when I'm, like, right now, like, I don't think of myself being the concept of a lot of people watching my videos, I don't really understand that, you know? And in fact, it was interesting because I went to my Social Blade the other day, and if you guys don't know what Social Blade is, like, Social Blade is this website that you can go to, and it shows you, like, real time, like, how many subscribers somebody has, like, how many views they get per channel, like, for that day, and things like that. A lot of YouTubers go there and kind of look and see what's going on. What was really funny about it was, I had been on YouTube making videos for almost 8 months, 9 months before I even knew what Social Blade was. And it was interesting because at the time I was like, I think it was Shane Dawson that I was like DMing with, and he said to me, do you like look at your numbers on Social Blade? And I was like, no. And he was like, I said, I don't even know what that is. And he was like, oh my God, you've got to go look at Social Blade, you know? And so then I started looking at it. Well, it was sometime while I was on vacation, and I was looking at Social Blade, and it like went up, like, so let's say if the number was like, you know, I don't know, something something, and then it like went up to that yellow light just went on. I'm so tired of that damn yellow light. I'm gonna beat your ass, yellow light. But anyway, it like went up, and I was like, oh my God, that's so crazy. Like 2 people just subscribed to me, you know, like, and I guess like for me, that's what's strange is like imagining somebody on the other side of the camera on their phone or their computer, like actually hitting the subscription button, like watching me and saying like, I like this dude enough that I'm gonna subscribe to his channel because I wanna see more of what he has to say. Like that to me is so cool. Like, I don't know, like we were talking tonight in our meeting about the importance of validation, you know, and I was talking about there's a saying in recovery, and it's, would you rather be happy or would you rather be right? And that, you know, a lot of times in my life, I have fought about being right. Like whether it's with Alex or, you know, ex-boyfriends or parents or whatever, that I'm right. I know that what I'm saying is right, blah, blah, blah. But does it really matter if you're right, you know, or does it matter that you're happy, if that makes sense? And I'm not talking about, listen, because every time I mention this in a video, there's always people out there that misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not talking about really deep, serious issues, okay? I'm talking about like arguing over like, well, we should have gone to this restaurant instead. I mean, that kind of stuff. Would you rather be happy or would you rather be right? Is it that important for you to win this fight? Like, is it that important? And my question to you would be, if it is that important for you to win the fight, then ask yourself why. Like, why is it that important to be right? Because that's really about power and control. And so when I realized that I didn't need to have that kind of power and control within relationships where somebody loves me, then I could let go of that, and I could realize that really ultimately what I want is to be happy, you know? But when you break that away and you look at, well, what is my need to be right? Well, a lot of my need to be right is that at many times in my life, I wasn't receiving validation from people. So it was important for me to be right, because if I was right, what that meant was somebody was validating that what I said was important. It was of value. And so, you know, you break that all down and you look at it, and it's like, okay, when you take away all this character defect stuff and you look at what is it really all about? Well, it's really about the fact that I need validation in my life. I have no idea how I got into all this, talking about what I was talking about before. I don't know. Oh, this is what I was going to say about the subscription button thing. You know, it's interesting to me because I really do see the number of subscribers I have as like people, like, and I think at some point a lot of YouTubers kind of lose that. And I've had more than one conversation with several of my friends where I'm like, do you realize that that's like, that is a lot of people that is watching your channel, or that's a lot of people that watch one of your videos. That's like a Britney Spears concert, or that's like, you know, a high school graduating class. Like, it's like I've said this before. I remember on BookTube when I hit 1,000 subscribers, like that feeling to me was surreal, like absolutely surreal, that I had 1,000 people watching my channel. That was more people than I had graduated with in high school, you know, and like I really couldn't kind of conceptualize it, honestly. And so when I see the number go up, for me, it's very personal. It's very human that I feel like somebody is on the other side and they're saying to me by hitting that button, I like you, or I don't like you, but I find you interesting, or I want to watch the story, or I want to continue to see what unfolds in your life, or I'd like to hear what you have to say down the road. You know, all of those things, and that to some degree is validation. And I've talked a lot about this on my channel, that validation feels good for most of us. You know, I think that all of us on some level, now, I think there's a few people out there that don't need any kind of validation from anybody, but I do think there's a lot of us out there that crave some kind of validation, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you didn't get it as a child. I got a lot of validation as a child. I got a lot of validation from my parents. I got, you know, tons. I mean, I could do no wrong to some degree in their eyes, you know? But at the same time, like at school, I didn't get validation, you know? In fact, I got the opposite of that. I got people making fun of me or people hurting my feelings, and it hurt. And maybe it would have just been nicer to have blended in and been part of that social circle that everybody wants, you know? Like, you know when people say, I don't care if I'm popular or not? Well, I did care if I was popular a little bit. It would have maybe been nice. It would have maybe been a little bit easier. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't popular, so I don't know what that experience is like. All I know is that my experience was hell. So I can't imagine that that experience was worse. Maybe it was. I don't know. But you know, like, to walk down the hallways and have people think that you're cool of school, you know, there's a good feeling that comes along with that. And I've always said that I throw all the shit out there. So when people like my videos, so thank you for liking my videos, or subscribe to my channel, yeah, that feels really good. It feels great. It feels like I matter. And I think that's what we want. You know, it's like when Tanya was sitting in the car that night with me and she looked at me and I said, you know, all I really want is validation. All I really want is, and she interrupted me and said, for someone to say, I see you. And I think that's it for a lot of us, you know, that we want to be seen. We want someone, and that's why it's important for me that I like tweets and I try to get back to stuff. I was just thinking tonight, you know, like I haven't gotten on Snapchat in a very long time and responded to snaps. It has been, if you've left me a Snapchat in the last 3 or 4 weeks, I haven't even opened Snapchat in 3 or 4 weeks because it becomes very overwhelming to me. So I need to take a day this week and respond to all of those. I promise I will do that. But, you know, it's like, one of the reasons why I try to do all those things and read all the comments, even though I don't respond to them, I do read all the comments on my videos, is because it's important that people that watch my videos know that it's reciprocal. I see you. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for taking time. It was interesting because this woman was in my live stream tonight, and I said she gave me some bars, and I said she subscribed to my stream, and I said, I know your name. Like, you comment on all my videos. And this other person came in, and I had just gone into her live stream, and it's, I think, like, for us to notice each other and to make each other feel, I don't know, validated is important. One of the things I love, because I am not in it, okay, is when you guys become friends in the comment sections of my videos and you know each other, and so you'll say, hey, how are you doing? Or, like, with Amy, like with her husband going away in the military and her being pregnant, people will say, like, hey, how are you doing? Are you hanging in there? And people remember the stories and people remember each other. I see you. That's validation. I see you. You're important to me. And, it's interesting how many people say, especially on my vlog, that it's a safe place. And, I get some nasty comments on there, of course, like any YouTuber, but by and large, it is pretty much a safe place. I noticed that somebody came for me not too long ago. It was funny because I used to tell people, like, when somebody leaves a nasty comment on one of my videos, just say to them, do you need a hug? Because obviously you're having a bad day, so you need a hug, And it was interesting because somebody left a comment on my video and it was just scathing, right? And somebody underneath it, like, immediately put, you need a hug, don't you? And I was like, oh yes, I love this. Because I think that's the attitude, it's like when people approach you with negativity and toxicity, instead of us saying, listen, you nasty person, if instead we said to them, and I don't always do this, okay, I'm preaching, I understand, but like, this is a lesson I need to be reminded of too. If we look at that person and we say, what's going on with you today? Like, you seem a little irritated, you seem a little agitated. And not everybody's gonna always respond kindly with that, But I do think that, like, if we approach people more as humans and say those kinds of things. I'm at the post office. I haven't been here in 2 days, so has it been 2 days? I don't know. I went when I got home. Oh, it just stopped. Well, I'm at the post office anyway, so. Alright, I'm back. I let the camera sit for like a half an hour, so I hope it is cooled down now. And, I kind of remember a little bit of what I was talking about. I was talking about, when people are, the whole kind of attitude of like, hurt people, and negativity and toxicity and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know. I feel like I don't really encounter that a whole lot anymore in my personal life. Like, I've just I've slowly through the years kind of like, I wouldn't even say like I've intentionally gotten rid of the negativity around me. I would say it's kind of slowly just gone away. I don't even know really how to explain it. My world's gotten a lot smaller in the last couple years. I just, I don't have as many friends as I used to have. And the friends I do have aren't negative. They aren't toxic. And so, I think maybe it was a conscious decision a couple years ago when I started. The thing is that I think, like, I've talked about this on here before, that there was a long time when I was very negative. I don't talk about this negativity in people because of, just, oh, I'm grandiose. I talk about it because it was something that I saw in myself that I didn't like, that Alex would bring to my attention and be like, you're very negative a lot of the time. And when he like asked me, I asked him what he wanted for Christmas, and he said, I want you to be more positive. I want you to be happy. And so then when I made a conscious effort to be more positive on a regular basis, one of the things that I noticed, was the more positive that I was, the more I witnessed negativity regularly in people. So when I was around people that are regularly negative, I like spotted it like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I just saw it all around. Like, I couldn't ignore it. Because I was so focused on trying to be positive. Like, this is a good, I always use like time periods for like trying something. Like in recovery, we say don't have a drink or a drug for 90 days. And if you really struggle, I sometimes even say 30 days with people that are really resistant to it. But I say, like, try not to have a drink or a drug for 30 or 90 days, but the recommendation is usually 90 days, 90 meetings in 90 days. And if you can do it, and at the end of it, it hasn't been a struggle for you and it hasn't been hard, then realistically, you probably don't have a problem with drugs and alcohol. If you do find it difficult, then, the reality is you probably do have a problem and maybe you can get some help. The same thing, I think, can go with anything, and I think if you're somebody that falls to the negative, and only you can answer that, either people have said something to you about it, or in your head, you feel very negative a lot of the times, it's like, check yourself, and say, okay, for the next 30 days, I'm going to make it a goal of mine to be very positive on a daily basis. Like, I'm really going to try and attempt on a daily basis to be very positive. And the more you work at it, what you realize, because I did this, is that it is work. When you are a negative person, it is some work. And whenever I talk about this, I get a lot of messages from people that say, like, I have negative people in my life, but I also get a lot of messages from people that say, I am that negative person. What do I do to change that? Well, what you can do is that every time those negative, toxic thoughts come in your head, push them out and do something positive. Practice gratitude. Gratitude can be an action, and gratitude should be an action. And today I was just talking to a friend of mine earlier about like waking up on the wrong side of the bed. And it's like, today I wouldn't say that I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, but I woke up exhausted. I was tired. I didn't want to go have coffee with my friend. I didn't really want to do anything. I could have just slept till 2 in the afternoon. I've been tired since I've been home. I don't know why, but I was just cranky, not negative, I wouldn't say, but just cranky. And I was driving to go get coffee, and I thought to myself, and I was kind of negative in my head, and I pushed it out, and I said to myself, you have such a wonderful life. You say it, you believe it. Why in this moment are you allowing that thought to go out and something else negative to come in? And very quickly, I got rid of the negative thoughts, and I started focusing on the positive in my life of, feeling blessed and, looking at what so I started doing it, a gratitude list in my head of my husband and my dogs and my marriage and, all this kind of stuff. Today is so Alex and I in August will have been together 10 years. Did I already say this on here? We'll have been together 10 years, married 7 years, but today we got married legally in Indiana 4 years ago today, because there was in Indiana, they passed marriage equality, And so we went and got married on like the 2 days, and then they appealed it. And then I think it was like 2 months later or a month later or something that they came out with the federal legalization of marriage equality. So today, and we consider our wedding date 7 years ago, our wedding day. We don't celebrate this or anything like that. But you know, I started thinking about all those things, you know, the fact that I'm able to make YouTube videos and people like to watch them, that you guys like to watch, and you comment and you're invested in what I have to say, and that's awesome to me, you know, and that I get to write books, and I just got back from a beautiful vacation, a wonderful vacation, and that, you know, my dad and my stepmom want to see me, and I have Alex's family, and I just talked to my cousin Caroline. You know, I have like such a wonderful, amazing life, but that doesn't mean that I don't always am in my head. Like, the crankiness and negativity still comes in from time to time. So it's an action that I have to work through to get to the other side and say, okay, not today. Like, I'm not going to go to the negative today, right? But once you start doing it regularly, like today was kind of strange for me. Like, it rarely ever happens. And, but I'm human, and I have days that I wake up and I'm cranky and I'm negative, and I don't want to do this or whatever, you know? And it's working through that and rerunning that tape in your head with a different tape. Instead of the tape of, oh my God, I have this to do and this to do and this to do, and I don't have enough time to get it done, and to look at all of it and go, wow, I have a pretty blessed life, you know? Or, you know, if you're somebody that really struggles finding the blessings in your life, finding the one or two things, you know, whether it's your dog or your cat, or, you know, just a comfortable bed, or whatever, a TV show that you like. It doesn't have to be huge things. It can be small things that can refocus us, you know? And, like, one of the things that makes me really, really sad with people is when they comment on my videos and they say, I think it's wonderful that you're so grateful. I have nothing to be grateful for in my life. And I'm like, you can't find one thing in your, not one thing in your life to be grateful for. Not one thing. Because to me, and this may sound cruel, but you're choosing misery then, is really what you're doing. Because we don't always have a choice over the conditions of our lives. Many times, most of us don't. Many of my blessings in my life are luck, okay, or circumstances. But we do have a choice in our reaction and our response to the conditions in our life. And I've met people that have pretty miserable lives, that can't, you know, don't have 2 quarters to rub together, that have very, very little. And, you know, it's interesting, like I saw my old sponsor tonight, like old sponsor, like 3 sponsors ago. And I love this man. I mean, he is one of the wisest men I've ever met in my entire life. And, you know, he's 67, he has chronic arthritis, he can hardly walk, you know, his hands are like this, he's in pain probably 95% of the time, and he's telling these funny stories about, you know, having to do laundry and how lazy he is, and he carries the laundry to the door, and then he knows he has to take it out to his car to take it to the laundromat, and, you know, he's like, sometimes I'm just not even want to go because I'd rather just, you know, do this or use my money for that. And I'm like, this man has so much gratitude in his life, you know? Like, people are concerned about, I don't have money for this, I don't have money for that, and like, I don't know, it's just, I need people in my life to remind me how good I really have it, you know? And, there's always somebody that has it much better than you do, but there's always somebody that has it much worse than you do as well. And when I really understood that concept, you know, it was hard for me to start feeling sorry for myself. And, I had a friend of mine, I've shared this story on here so many times, but like, I had a friend of mine, and she has a very charmed life. And, you know, we were talking about things, and I said something to her about gratitude. This is years ago. And she said to me, you know, I understand all that. But in my life, in my reality today, I'm miserable. In my reality, what I'm used to. And she said, I understand, like, when you want to talk to me about the starving children in Africa, and you want to talk to me about kids dying at the children's hospital, I get that. But in my reality, I'm miserable. And like, for a couple minutes, like, I could hook onto that and go, I get it. I understand what she's saying, because I, try to, like, look at people with empathy and compassion, and I don't want anybody to feel that way. But then I kind of sat back and I thought, no, you lack gratitude is what it is. And I've lacked gratitude a lot in my life. Back in the day, before I got sober, I was a spoiled brat, like, I felt entitled. And I think that when you have lived certain negative behaviors, it's very easy to spot them in other people, especially when you've changed them, because you can see parts of yourself in other people. And, my response to that today, if she would say that to me, is, no, you really are lacking some gratitude, because there are starving children in Africa and other countries and that are orphaned. And there are kids tonight fighting for one more day to live. How dare you? And I have to remember that. That's not my lesson to teach her. She's got to learn that lesson on her own. Anybody that feels that way, they've got to learn their own lessons. But I have to remember that. I have to remember that tonight, while I am driving around in a car, vlogging, having the opportunity to post a video that people are going to watch and respond to, because you guys like me, the majority of you. The few that don't, hey, how are you? But those of you that like me, watch because you're interested to hear what I have to say. Now, while I have the ability to do that, I see all these YouTubers that want to complain about their lives, complain about YouTube is so unfair to me, YouTube is so unfair to me, and this is unfair, and that's unfair, and whatever. Okay, well, while you're complaining about this stuff, I would rather sit in the grace of what has been given to me as a privilege that I am not deserving of, when there is, in my reality, a child fighting for his life tonight that will not make it another day. How dare I ever act so fucking entitled that I think I'm better than that child? I'm not. My story is different. That's what makes me different. And I can't stand that entitlement when I see it in people. It's just a disgusting trait that I see. And I have to be honest with you, I hold back a lot on my drama channel, because I can tell you 90% of the time the way that I feel is I try to look at these people with compassion and empathy and say, if I were in their shoes, maybe this is how I feel. But my attitude a lot of times is, leave YouTube. If you making 3 videos a week to make $1 million a year is such a hard job, and you're so pissed at the system, leave YouTube. If you think it's such a horrible life, go find something else, My life is a privilege. My life is an honor. And I have a choice whether I live that with grace and integrity and humility, compassion and kindness and love, tolerance, or if I want to live that complaining and negative and toxic. But see, when I live it negatively, chaotically, with toxicity in it, or those are the first 3 things, I don't know what I said before, but when I'm living it, complaining, negative, and toxic, like I said, that doesn't just affect the people around me. I'm going to run people off. That affects me most of all. I'm the one that suffers the most. If you're doing that, you're the one that suffers the most. I want to be happy. Give me happy, and this is where it goes back to that, would you rather be happy or would you rather be right? I don't need to be that right. I just don't. I want to be happy. I want to have a smile on my face. I want to laugh. So I started this story time channel that I'm going to start in August, probably August 1st. And so many people have reached out to me and they're giving me tidbits of their story, and they want to tell their story on video. And it's just like I sit there and I think, like, this is so cool. Like, this is an honor, you know, that people want to share their stories, not just with the world, but with me. That people have allowed me in. That's a privilege, okay? That is a privilege that somebody would share their life with you. And, it's not just enough to eat the most delicious tiramisu in the world. You gotta really appreciate it too, you know? And say, this is the most fantastic tiramisu I've ever had in my entire life. And if I wake up on a daily basis and I say to myself, wow, I have an amazing life, it's acknowledging the dessert. It's acknowledging the gift that I have been given. To just live it is one part of it. The acknowledgement is important as well. Because I don't want to take for granted what I've been given. I don't want to take for granted my family. I've lost a lot. I've lost a mother. I've lost an aunt. But I haven't lost any more than a lot of people out there. I still have a lot to live for. I'm at the point where I don't want to look at what I've lost anymore in my life. I want to look at what I've gained, you know? Because I've gained a lot. I've such a great life. And I want that for everybody out there. I want everybody out there that watches my videos to be able to say to themselves, if you can't say it now, I want you to be able to say it at some point in your life. I have a life beyond my wildest dreams. Even if that means you live in a small place and you don't make a lot of money, but you just wake up every day happy, you know? Like, I think that's a lot. I think that's a lot that, you know, I don't know. And, you know, I see like Alex's family, a lot of them, you know, they just struggle so hard because, you know, they've left everything behind. And, you know, like Alex's brother Carlos, to just sit in the backyard and play ball with his kids is like, brings such joy on his face. And I just look at that and I think, like, he doesn't want for a whole lot more than that, you know? And I remember we were talking to them because they took Alex's grandma, mom, and kids to Disney World, and they went down there, and when they came back, this was like in the spring, you know, I said, now are you going to take, because they were talking about going out to visit Alex's brother Fufu, Juan Carlos, in San Diego, and I said, now are you going to take that trip just the two of you and Liliana? And he goes, no, why would we do that? And I said, well, you don't want a weekend alone without the kids? And he was like, I love my kids. I want to go on vacation with them, you know. And I think about that, how cool that is, you know, that. And listen, if you're a parent, I would need a break. I would need to have a weekend away without my kids. And I think a lot of people appreciate that and understand it. But they're with their kids 24 hours a day. When he's not working, he's there. She's with the kids all the time, you know, because she doesn't work. And I'm thinking, like, I don't know. It really puts gratitude in perspective. You know, and I was thinking tonight when I was sitting in my meeting, and we were all talking about, like, obstacles in our life. And, you know, it was going around the room and people were talking about, like, issues with work or, you know, an argument that they had with their partner. And I thought to myself, and everybody in the group had 10 plus years of sobriety, 10 to like 40 years of sobriety in the group that I was sitting in alone. 42, my old sponsor has 42 years of sobriety. And, you know, we're sitting in that group and all of us are talking about issues that are blessings, that they're issues. Because when I got sober, my issues were being able to not drink or drug for a day. The fact that I was, you know, still alive was gratitude, you know, and not in prison. And, you know, like, when I think about those things, and I think that issues back then were, where was I going to get money for a cheeseburger or cigarettes, you know? And today my issues are, you know, an argument I might have with my husband or not having enough time in the day to get my errands done. That is a blessing. Look at my problems today compared to what my problems were. That's been a lot of hard work that I've had to do, you know, to get to that point. And anybody out there can have that. Any of you can have that out there, you know, to have your problems be less. And I want that for everybody. I want everybody to at one point be able to say in their life, I have an amazing life. I'm grateful for it. Whatever that is. You know, could I have a Gucci messenger bag and travel every other week and have a Range Rover and on and on and on? Sure. Would that make my life better? It would make it, I don't know, a little bit more exciting or superficial. But would it really deepen the quality of my life? No. And when I talk about having a life beyond my wildest dreams, what I mean by that is I have a husband who loves me and is willing to work on our marriage to make it the finest marriage possible. I have 3 dogs that I love. I'm in good health today. I have family members that love and support me. I have a home to sleep in at night. I have food to eat on a daily basis. And for today, I'm okay. And that is an amazing life. That is my life beyond my wildest dreams. You know? So, all right, you guys, I'm going to get off here and listen to a little bit of my audiobook. And I will be back tomorrow. I love you, and I will see you then. Bye.